Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show, and welcome back to part 6, I believe, of Why We Play the Game. Game night is over. All the dice have been rolled. Your character sheets have been put up. Everybody's getting ready to head home or what have you. Maybe not. Maybe, like my friends back in the day, we'd hang around the table talking about the game, talking about other stuff that we didn't talk about during the game or before the game, checking in on our friends, seeing how they're doing, just shooting the breeze. Or sometimes on a really big game night, we'd head out to our favorite restaurant, and if it was closed, of course, we'd go to Denny's, and usually, feast on usually dessert as opposed to an actual meal, just some, massive high-calorie hot fudge sundae, banana split kind of thing. A couple of times we'd go to particular ice cream shops that were available back in the day, even Farrell's at one time, and boy did we get some crazy ass looks from the waitresses and servers as we were talking about all the different crazy things that went on in the game or our future plans. I've heard horror stories of people actually being asked to leave because of their game talk, if you will. But I'm curious to see what was your guys' ritual. What did you guys do after the big game? Did y'all just call it quits and go off your separate ways and maybe, chat throughout the week before the next big game? Or did you, like I said before, sit around the table for hours and hours? The game's over. A couple of people might have had to leave because of work obligations the next day or that sort of thing. Or did you guys all just sit around the table for hours and hours chatting about whatever? I'd love to hear what you guys did after the game. My son and I, we just actually got through with a not a big game, but it was a big game in the sense that we hadn't played in a couple of months. An embarrassingly large, not like 6 months or a year, but for a couple of guys that wanted a game every other day, if not every week, at least once a week. We went a couple of months, and it was good to get back in there. Just the two of us. It was a board game. To be honest, it was Shadows of Brimstone. Probably our favorite game to play together because we get to play together as opposed to, him versus me and that sort of competitive thing, which, we're okay with. We've played lots of competitive games. We're going to play some more competitive games possibly during the November break or during Christmas vacation. And that's, 5 weeks of opportunities that we're not going to pass up. And having played today, it just made it all the more clear why we need to kind of start gaming a little bit more often. We are gamers. He plays a video game every chance he gets, whether it's his chess game that he's playing online or whether it's Hearts of Iron. He's a gamer. I'm a gamer. And we're not getting to game together as much. And tonight this afternoon was a good reminder of what we missed, how much fun we had, how close it came to being curtains for one of the characters. We're going to talk about that all next week on Tuesday. But right now, I'm just curious. I want to hear from you guys out there in TV land. What do you guys do after the game is over? Does the game just drag on and on because even though the game is over, you can't stop talking about the plans for the next game? Or is your GM one of those guys that says, nope, we're not talking about anything until, next week when it's game day? Does he compartmentalize it or she? Game day is for game stuff. Every other day is for not game stuff. Or do you have one of those GMs that'll let you call them up at 2 a.m. because you just came up with a crazy idea? Yeah, I was that guy. I had one friend who's no longer with us who would literally call me 5 times a day, every day, between games and even on game day, just talking and talking and talking. Even when he moved away, he would call me relentlessly about his characters, their plans, their ideas of what they want to do. And I still have one good friend who still does that all the time. And sometimes we even roll dice over the phone because we're 300-400 miles away from each other now, and it's really hard to get together to game. And I'm trying to get those friends to start gaming online because I've actually had a lot of fun. I was in Bloodworth's game last night, and it was a blast. Made it to 7th level as a magic user in AD&D, and I'm starting to really, hold my own, contribute to the party, as a magic user. You really need the protection and meat shields until you get to a certain point. And now, with last night, I was blasting off magic missiles and a fireball, and it really, added to my, deserving to be in the party. It's a pretty big party of like 8 characters, I want to say. And up until last night, I was, kind of, not holding my own, not pulling my own weight. I hit 7th level, and boom, my magic missile spells. I'm blasting off 4, pew 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 pew, that kind of thing. It was a lot more fun, and it's starting to get into that really sweet spot, at least for me. I know that some of the other characters have been, doing all right, but Bloodworth, thanks for letting me in your game. I appreciate it, and everybody in the party. I hope you guys are, enjoying the show and, enjoying my being there. I hope I'm contributing more than the last guy, because I think the last magic user died or had to leave the party. But I know had he been able to stick around until 7th level, he would have come in to the same sort of, power level that I'm in. And hopefully, I'll be able to talk to the guys in the group through Discord and Bloodworth, because I got some ideas now. I'm starting to feel my own now. And I'm, like I said, 2 games within the last 24 hours. So I'm wondering, what do you guys do? Are you talking to each other when the GM isn't around? Are you plotting and scheming, thinking up dirty tricks and new strategies to unleash on your DM? Because, it's always, in a way, the party against the DM. You can work together. The DM's kind of on his own. Not adversarial, but a little bit. I mean, let's face it, you can't play a game like a role-playing game without a little bit of that and friendly, competition or whatever you want to call it. The GM trying to put out bigger and greater challenges. That's part of the job, and the player's job is to overcome those. But are you keeping in touch? Are you doing the things, with the players, online, telephone? Hell, we used to use pagers back in the day. I'll tell you how that was done maybe someday. But let me know in the comments section how you did it, how you pulled it off. What do you guys do? Do you go out to dinner? Do you go out to dinner before the game? Do you just split and see you next week? Or, I'm curious. I want to know what you guys do. And, maybe I'll take on some of those activities myself with my group or the groups that I'm in and suggest things, because sometimes, the game's over and everybody, scurries off in their own different direction. And I'd like to see players, be able to hang out a little bit more, talk, and, just chew the fat and, how's the wife and kids, that sort of thing. Or, next time, it's going to be tougher. Next time, oh, we'll get you, we got a plan, blah, blah, blah. So hit the chat section, or hit me up on Discord or Messenger, or however you usually get a hold of me. My email address is out there as well. Let me know. Can't wait to hear from you guys. And until then, have a great day and happy trails.